eFootball fans, I hope you're sitting down for this one, because today we will discuss how eFootball 25 became a textbook case of a company running a legendary series into the ground, all in pursuit of easy money. See, Pro Evolution Soccer, once the king of football simulation, has been basically reduced to a mobile spin-off of a gambling machine, and the worst part is that it's not even very good at that. Unfortunately, this trend is nothing new. We've seen it happen across all sports games, NBA, NFL, and most obviously all football titles. Ultimate Team style modes have turned sports gaming into a dopamine farm, where the goal is not to create the best football simulation, but to hook players into spending money on microtransactions. And honestly, from a business standpoint, well, why wouldn't they? Why invest millions into developing a top-tier football sim that sells for a one-time $60 when you can churn out Barebones game, slap on a live service model, and rake in cash endlessly? Why even bother with full-scale game development when a mobile-style experience brings in just as much, if not more, profit? And that, my friend, brings us to eFootball. Because for me, no series has fallen victim to this trend harder than what was once Pro Evolution Soccer. Konami took a franchise beloved by football purists and gutted it. Career modes? Gone. Master League? Missing in action. Licenses? Barebone. Atmosphere? Nowhere to be found. Instead, we are left with basically glorified exhibition matches and monetized online ecosystem. And you know what? That's a damn shame, because a few years ago we had really fantastic PES games. In many ways, eFootball is a huge step back from PES 21, the last real Pro Evo game. Coming back to eFootball after playing few months of Pro Evo 21, I was basically stunned, and not in a good way. The immersion is gone, the football feel is lacking, and the gameplay is more arcade than ever. Now, to be fair, it's not all doom and gloom. There are a few improvements over previous eFootball versions, which we will get into. And if I had no other choice, I would probably still play eFootball over EA's offering or the abomination of football game that UFL is. But here's the thing, Pro Evo 21 still exists. And thanks to insanely passionate modding community, it's alive and well. So, we are in this bizarre situation where a fan-modded years-old PES 21 game delivers a way better football experience than the official live service title from the major publisher. So today I'm diving into eFootball in 2025, giving you my detailed opinion on what I like in it, what is wrong with it, and where do I think this series will go. If you enjoyed this video, then be a good lad and click that like button. It helps me out grow on this platform. And if you want to see more football gaming content from me in the future, then make sure to subscribe to my channel. Alright, we will start with the most important part of any video game, the gameplay. And we will focus first on positives, because eFootball 25 does get some things right. Defending, for instance, actually feels like an upgrade over PES 21. Jockeying is finally a proper thing here. It's not perfect though, it feels a bit too automated, like the game is holding your hand when you press the button, and sometimes your player just moves on their own, which is kinda strange. But overall, defensive actions like interceptions feel well balanced. You can win the ball back cleanly if you position yourself properly, which wasn't always the case in older PES games. Long distance shooting has also improved. If you played Pro Evo 21, you will remember how useless long shots were. Unless you were a manual player, those efforts from outside the box were just cannon fodder for goalkeepers. And now in eFootball, well, you can actually score bangers, even with assisted shooting. And how about goalkeepers, you may wonder? Well, they feel fairly balanced. They will pull off some heroic saves, sure, but they will also let in a few that make you go, I could see that going in real life. And it's quite refreshing. Dribbling is another area where eFootball finds a decent balance. It sits somewhere between PES 21's more methodical approach to dribbling and EAFC's twitchy responsiveness. You can pull off smooth skill moves here, but you will need to still use body positioning and balance to beat defenders. It's not just a case of flicking the right stick and zooming past everyone. This part of the gameplay actually feels like a step forward. But then we get to the problems, and yeah, there are quite a few. The overall pace of the game is way too fast. It feels like a pinball machine at times, with the ball flying back and forth. Online play especially suffers from this issue. Most players just push quickly forward without actually building up a proper attack and playing an actual football, which makes matches feel frustratingly arcade-like. And I am not digging it at all. Passing is another letdown. The game really forces you to choose between two extremes. Either you go full assisted and deal with its weird restrictions, or you have to switch to manual and put yourself at a disadvantage playing online against players who are on assisted settings. See, Pro Evo 21 handled this way better by allowing players to mix manual and assisted controls mid-game. And then there's the ball physics. Oh boy, they feel floaty, like the ball is a beach ball rather than an actual football. Headers, for example, just don't have the weight or power they should, unless you're right next to the goal. It's a step back from the more grounded and satisfying feel of Pro Evo 21. Passes physics feel also off, lacking acceleration and deceleration that you would expect from the ball on grass field. All in all, gameplay in eFootball feels way more like a letdown despite few improvements over Pro Evo 21, and to me that's very frustrating. Then we have presentation of the game, and visually eFootball is a bit of a mixed bag. Close-up shots and cutscenes actually look decent. It's somewhere between FC25 and Pro Evo 21 in terms of quality of the cutscenes. Player models are solid, and on certain camera angles the grass even looks kinda nice. The switch to Unreal Engine does bring few benefits, like improved animation variety, something that I really wish we had in PES 21 modded versions. But that's where the good stuff ends, because in most cases, in most areas, the presentation takes just a huge hit. The user interface? Absolute garbage. It looks like something straight out of mobile game. Clunky, uninspired, and somehow worse than previous PES menus. And unfortunately, we've got to talk about that freaking massive player cursor. Seriously, who the hell thought that this was a good idea? It's so damn big, it could have its own postcode. It completely breaks immersion and just looks goofy. The camera options are another head scratcher. You're stuck with the default options, none of which feels great. It's a baffling decision that just makes the game feel more restrictive for no good reason. And then there's the atmosphere, or shall I say rather lack of it. From a distance, the grass textures look flat and lifeless, like they are 2D surfaces, only getting proper 3D depth in cutscenes. The crowd animations? Choppy. Flags in the stands, for instance, move at about 15 FPS, making it look like you are playing on a budget PC from late 2000s. And the lighting is just dull. There is no sense of spectacle, no match day feel. It's clear that eFootball is still primarily designed for mobile, and the PC console versions haven't been given the graphical love they desperately need. Sound design is another weak point.
Ugarte. Oh, he's ended up in no man's land. Now it's Vinicius Junior. He's got away. No message.
There's just no oomph to anything. The ball doesn't sound like a football when it's kicked, which makes everything feel lifeless. See, audio is such a huge part of immersion in sports games, and when you get it wrong, it just makes the whole experience feel flat. Now let's talk about Konami's version of Ultimate Team, which is clearly their main focus. If you were hoping for Master League, well yeah, forget about that. They've completely abandoned one of the best single-player modes in football gaming in favor of an online team building mode designed to bring in microtransaction revenue. To be fair, it's not as aggressively predatory as EA's Ultimate Team. You can actually build a decent squad here without spending money. But that's actually also part of the problem, ironically, because the monetization isn't working as well as EA's. Konami doesn't seem motivated to add fresh content. The result? A mode that feels half-baked and lifeless. The player roster is just tiny. In most matches against other players, you will see basically the same players populating both team squads. Almost every single time I played against other players, I saw Messi, Neymar, Neuer and Alexander-Arnold. There just aren't enough interesting players to chase, and the lack of variety makes grinding feel pointless. Imagine that even some of the same packs from last summer seem to still be in the rotation, which tells you all you need to know about how little effort is going into keeping this mode fresh. So yeah, while eFootball technically lets you enjoy online team building without spending cash, it doesn't reward you for playing either. There's no excitement in chasing new signings, no anticipation for fresh content. It just feels like a mode that exists because something had to replace Master League to pull money from your pocket. So, after about 20 hours with eFootball, my overall feeling is, well, it just feels like a poor man's football game. It's painfully obvious that eFootball was designed as a mobile game first, with the PC and console versions feeling like an afterthought. And look, I get it, it's free-to-play title. But free-to-play doesn't have to mean cheap, tacky and uninspired. eFootball also makes it clear that it doesn't care about being a realistic football simulation anymore. Instead, it's just chasing the Ultimate Team crowd, players who prefer fast-paced, arcadey gameplay over a true-to-life football experience. And that's where the game loses what made Pro Evolution Soccer so beautiful in the first place. PES had that magic, the feeling that you were actually participating in a real football match, not just playing a video game. But with eFootball, that feeling is gone. Every time I played this game for the purpose of this video, I kept asking myself, why the hell am I playing this when I could just play a modded Pro Evo 21 instead? And honestly, I couldn't come up with a good answer. Single player modes? Way better in older PES games. Matchday atmosphere? Better in both FC25 and PES 21. Gameplay as a whole? More realistic and satisfying in Pro Evo 21 as well. But hey, maybe online multiplayer is saving grace here. Nope. Still better experience in the old PES titles. And seeing how Konami has completely ignored Pro Evo fans, refusing year after year to bring back proper offline modes and true football sim, I'm not exactly hopeful for the future of the franchise. I wish they would make a real comeback and drop a high quality football game on us. But let's be real. Until the current live service microtransaction-obsessed trend dies out, I don't see that happening. But hey, that's just my take after spending some time with eFootball. What do you think? Are you as disappointed as I am, or are you actually enjoying the game? Let me know in the comments, I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you are a football fan who wants that real feeling of playing the beautiful game, I highly recommend checking out my videos on modded versions of Pro Evolution Soccer 21. Konami may have shut down the official game, but there are still ways to play it, both offline and online. If you enjoyed this video, a quick like would be massively appreciated. It only takes a second of your time, but it helps the channel a lot by getting this video out to more people. And if you want to see more content from me in the future, then make sure to subscribe to my channel. Anyway, that's all from me in this video. Thanks for your time, and I'll see you in the next one.